Um, I'm just trying to get everything into one shot, and I'll send it to you guys to look at first. Obviously, you could all be working on it as well, but that's the easiest way. The problem is too. I'm just gonna say this, right? And I'm gonna start. The other night, we're getting people. Oh, my camera doesn't work. Oh, my this. Oh, my that. That doesn't really matter. So you guys got to think about that too. I know, but I'm just saying because we're too complicated, and that's gonna give people excuses. No, unless there was a meeting. Can I say something? There is no math. It's 2/3. It's not three. It's not four. I don't know why we agreed to 4. So if you had 6 months and 2 months you had no meetings, no full board, right? That means in 6 months you met 4 times. That means you have to meet at 3. It's 2/3. So if you were at 2, you're at half. That's it. 2/3. No numbers. The numbers may change, so that's why the fractions do different.
It's just no, no. I'm not saying you are. Like in general, like we just want to make it be very like quick and fast.
There's
Like
two
now,
thirds.
at full board,
Y
it
que
will be a
quedan.
more. And we'll do over the summer with like I've been having significant that's an executive. It'll go to executive, executive, and I don't really want to talk about things that we can get here. And we have, you know, I like the point. I just want to say, I don't want to get into it. because we can always we can bring that up and and that is I'm gonna count the words. Okay, go ahead.
No, I have an answer. When it's on Zoom, Angel is able to tell what time people sign in and sign up. When it's in person, what we're going to start doing at committees, it's not that difficult. Because the vice chairs need to start doing what they're supposed to do. They can mark. At the full board, once the meeting starts, we're pulling the sign-in sheet from where Marlene used to have it. You could sign in there if you're on time. It goes to Rosa. And once you're late, you need to go up to her in front of everybody and sign it. And then she's gonna mark the time. No, it's to keep track. It will be. It will be. So people. I'll tell you why. I hear you. I hear your point. No, I agree with you. My thing isn't to shame people, but my thing is to actually encourage better attendance. If you are coming late, it's very easy to sign in and not feel like whatever. If you got to go up in front of everybody, it might make you think twice about continuing to come in late. Yeah, I disagree. So I have a chair that comes in at 6:15. I'm not leaving. I hear you. You have to make changes. I agree with that, and that's why I definitely reconsider. My only thing is about people's reasons for not being on time. That's not really too committed. Everybody has reasons, but I do agree with you, and it could be done easier. And that.
If you don't say, so that's what the Bible saying now. It's in the same sentence. It's in the same sentence. Right. So then you're gonna encourage people not. That's what I'm saying. So that's just a consideration that that's not gonna be changed here. Here, the Bible. I was saying that if you're gonna then say if you're late, then it's gonna be considered like you're absent. And, but exactly, you're gonna lose a full board. You know, you're not gonna have quorum then. Because what is, people are coming to work, right?
They were 30 minutes late, we were sitting there for 30 minutes.
So that we call the meeting over.
Already had called it. They can still vote. So that's the thing when you say, yes, why would it be? Because your vote would still count.
Yeah, but why would my vote be counted if you're gonna count me out?
Right, and your vote,
That doesn't make no sense.
you never mark absent, so your vote would still count.
And 15 minutes late, I disagree with that. We do that to 30 because people are working. Not everybody gets home at 3:30, 3 o'clock. You get off at 6. We used to do that. That's right. We used to do that. Yeah, so we used to have this group. Remember, we are talking we can't change it that here. There's no executive. This is an executive here. They know the full board, but you can't change it. Right. But what I'm saying is this meeting has to next month. Layman language. I think it's my daughter. So I think I just want
so we're all on the same page. We've discussed this already. On my luck, I decided to start looking to get 2 snow days, right? So it's been difficult, right? Hopefully it doesn't keep snowing. But we've discussed it, right? Because we were going to start enforcing it strictly. Technically, we're supposed to, but I've been getting messages from people, oh, my camera. I just want to. We were going to send an email out to every member individually who would have been marked absent as I not suspended. Since we were not able to do that, we're going to do it again. Good record of who would have been absent under the open meetings law. And we're going to give, if you were on that meeting, Mike, department voted. That is the final vote. Bad word. So everyone's going to get one more like grace towards it because I think it's important that people really understand why they would have been absent. Okay, so just that's it. That gets it out. What I said, and then everyone said no. It is on meetings conducted. No, the meetings conducted should not include one. It would not include one because, as they were pointing out, what I said initially, this is very simple. If you count those you only met 4 times, it does. I'll give you an example. Let's say you're 6 months and you count just we only had 4 months. So 2/3 is 4 months. So if you miss 2 meetings, you're gone. I mean, chopping block. So only 4 meetings. 2/3 means that's what it represents right now. We don't have to like interpret it. This is exactly, I'm not debating. This is exactly how 4 meetings, and now you have 2/3. Should have been at 3. So if you miss, if you have 4 meetings, we didn't meet. No, what I'm saying is this: if we did not meet, you know, you have 6 months. And I know this thing on me. We have 4 meetings. So we do 2/3 of 4, should have been at 3. Means if you miss 2, you're now on this. So if it's not against you to miss 1, you can It's 2/3. It's still in the ratio. It doesn't change. So like the number becomes smaller. So what I proposed initially, and everybody thought it was
should be like month. The six is a constant. You can't change the six is charged. It's 2/3 of 4 meters. So which means 2/3 of 4 meters. Which means if you were absent, so that means if you were absent more than one, then you are going to.
But it should be easier because that means you only have to be at 3 meetings. It's never going to be more than 4. So now it's actually not harder. It's easier. And then what if one? But if they're all behind, can we all enforce this? That's the real question.
The ratio works against us. I don't think everyone is understanding this. It should be.
But the ratio should be on the amount of meetings being.
Exactly. That's right. Then you agree with me. Right. So August shouldn't go into that because we don't meet enough.
Sometimes.
Not August.
But then if we meet,
July we sometimes do.
that means if we meet in August and I have access then I attend August, we're good.
We have to.
Right? Now, we don't have to meet in August.
In August we meet for executive. I don't remember the last time full board met in Asia, when was the last time a full board met? 2 years. That's what I said.
Can I just?
Then we're not understanding it. That's the same thing that.
Says in our bylaws, legal members on.
What if, okay, you're gonna have one thing, when licenses meets in the summer, that committee's gonna have a different situation than everyone else. Okay.
And executive as well.
Right, so you're all aware.
Well, full board won't meet, so in full board it doesn't.
Right. Or any of the other.
Clarification bylaws.
You don't want. That question again. And honestly, the new members, they should know. They know. They know. And it should be held against them because they're new. That's a different story. We're gonna move on. I'm sorry. We're gonna move on. What is the question? What is the question? What is it we use?
In terms of roles, in terms of roles and attendance. I could leave this committee.
No, what is it?
I don't appreciate you. My question was, if you attend, does the term, does Rosa have to be at the day, at the meeting, or can she go outside? Because usually the public takes more time. So if she go on the side where Maurice, and you have to be where the meeting is going. No, you gotta understand. Is that a thing? And then you have the business side. That's what I don't want you to have. Because that's what you brought up about having it.
But like, it's not really in accordance with the, based on your,
That's what you gotta hear.
which is why we're here. We're gonna work
I'm listening
together.
to all your advice.
And it's advice.
Everybody else to the side. If, you know, most of the time I don't care. If I'll pull the time and make the meeting. If you see how many people coming late, I don't think it's for the everyone. A meeting drama. Please, and
Well, yeah, I think the only point is, we can do that, but David said, you know, that would be disruptive, and then Russell, I think, had
No,
the.
she said she'll sit on the side.
Oh, you'll sit on the side?
She'll
Oh,
sit
yeah.
with me.
I think you have to.
Okay, fine.
Just so you know though, this is not a topic for this committee. This is not a committee topic. Let's go on to remote implementation.
We got into the weeds about what should trigger attendance, but I think the due process part. After that, we have started. Well, there otherwise, that doesn't benefit us. Anderson, will we move on to the time? To me, I would say something that instead of it being speaking, I'm gonna
you know that during COVID, it was already there implemented to have the cameras set up. The bad thing was that it was never enforced throughout that time. So even when we have new members, we're in COVID. We have new assigned members. We don't even know what they look like. I mean, I could buy them in the supermarket. I don't even know that that's a problem. But it was never enforced, you know. So turning it off and turning it on, I could understand. Gotta go to the bathroom? Okay. You know, you don't want to look at the wall or something. Pero, I mean, but, you know, it was, should have been on. And since that wasn't enforced back in 2020, so I guess it's put like that, you know. But I always thought that you knew you were wrong. But that's not something that is new.
Just to be fair, we're gonna have to go back and how you all feel about that. No, no, no. Let's take one. What was the question? Has to be the whole point. And if you are to be here all the time, then this is the board. This where the people come over. So I can't sit until you sit in
I thought I could do it. I'm going to be late. Either I'm going to go to the penalty where I'm excluded, or I'm going to modify my behavior, make the changes that I got to get here. That's what we have to do. So anybody's new coming on, these are the rules. Coming on potentially 10 to 12, those are 12 new ones that understand what they're supposed to do. If they miss the first meeting, you're on the clock. A meeting, missing a meeting. Because that's what they're joining. They get on in May, or unless there could be some exception if they came on in June or whatever. But that's what we have to do, in my opinion.
Unfortunately, that's what kind of this committee is about, which is why I'm like, I'm not trying to rush everyone and anyone, but this committee isn't like about, it'll be very like process oriented. This is process, this is what we do. Like Jason Wu resigned on his own, but when he came to executive, I sat with him after. I'm like, listen, this is not something personal. It's just like, this is a process, and if we don't start applying these rules, then we shouldn't have these rules.
There are things that we
And for
want,
that, we shouldn't even talk about
the
them.
things that we want, and things that we need.
I know, I'm gonna cut you off because we got Rosa and then it's them.
I think the chair has spoken, you have spoken, like, we've spoken way too many times about what are the rules are. Like, we are definitely old to those, okay? And I think we just start to enforce the rules because, okay, let me give you another month of chance, let me give you another month of chance, it's way too much. Like, we are going to teach the procedures moving forward, or are we never going to start?
Them?
So that goes back to my question. I had told everybody that in January, I had reached out to Borough President's office because they wanted this enforced. And I said to everybody, I'll get the January full board waived, because a lot of people would have been absent. And then I said, beginning February 1st, this is what we would do. If we're gonna go by that, then whoever had technical difficulties, whatever, will still be marked absent at full board in February. Are you all okay with it?
So then that means I'm absent because I was on and then I got off.
I don't know.
Like
what does
something
my report
happened
say?
and I just had to.
I think we start March 1st at this.
I have a
You
report.
know, everybody's had.
Why don't you take a vote on that? Just a vote, like, not a record, just a hands. Yeah.
I would make a motion for us to start in March. Who seconds?
I say.
And who is in favor of starting in March, everything?
Aye.
And I think you explained.
And anyone against? Rosa, Mason.
Road?
Anyone present, anyone present not,
Oh, you wanna
anyone
start
present
now?
not voting? Anyone abstaining?
That's the
Okay,
other-
so the ayes have it. The ayes have it, which means in March, we will.
But I think, you know, again, we really need to stress that we should have started this in January. And that we're giving every opportunity for people to, no, again,
Do it again.
that's it.
Well, the chair, what the plan was is that regardless if we were planning on doing this tonight, is that the people that would have been absent because of cameras or whatever else, or just not there, or coming in significantly late, they're gonna get an email from Rosa saying, technically, you would have been absent because you were missing this amount of time, but we're gonna start in March to give everyone a comprehensive time to.
Work is the case.
We're gonna do that, because we gotta really be careful how we do everything. And then we don't have to be as careful moving forward, because we'll have it down. You're gonna send those to each person. You're and Jose took the things, notes. I don't wanna be involved in that conversation. Compare them, decide who it is, send it, right? We're gonna, then I will send one message to the whole board, letting them know without names that we did it again, we gave a pass and that's it. So everybody's aware, okay? And then what I'm gonna ask you, Rosa, last thing, is to speak to the chairs of the committees. I think I know one instance that we'll have to go back and correct. Angel, if you could help out, because if there was anyone then that was penalized for a committee in February, they need to not be. Otherwise, that is not fair. Okay? So then I think we're good with this. All right,
Okay.
thank you.
In terms of what we were talking about process, like process for attendance, when we meet next month, we're gonna look at attendance. I think we were talking with the chair about having a process where if this was your first time coming, but this would go to bylaws and executives, so everyone most of you are an executive, but just so that you're aware of like a little glimpse of it. Basically, if the thought is you never had an issue and this is your first issue, you'll get like an automatic pass, but then you're like on a probationary period for the next whatever amount of time the executive board decides. Again, that's not something that's decided here, that would be an executive.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna happen, right?
Yeah.
So somebody comes in early, right, shows up at the full meeting. But then when it's getting towards the end, they just leave before the roll call.
Technically, they'll be absent.
So then they're out, okay. You're gonna send that, you're gonna let everybody know that they gotta,
Yeah.
cause I mean, I know that that's been always something that when he was chair, that we always left early.
Yeah.
I mean, secretary, and he used to leave early, you know, or whatever, whoever left early, we already knew, but someone will be standing in the back if we had to make a vote to just make sure that we had quorum every time we were gonna have that vote on whatever was the issue. Because then, you know, some people will fall out and leave, and then we're in the middle of a serious, you know, headstrong, hyper situation, and then when it's time to vote on it, the quorum wasn't there for it, so.
There's gonna be a comprehensive, next full board explaining this. We'll send emails to people who are not looking at their emails. Cause Adem has been sending this out,
Definitely not.
as Rose has been sending it, I send out one. So no one is looking at their emails.
But if you send it by mail, they can't say they didn't receive it for that.
I mean, I don't know, I believe like
Dog show.
at full board,
Oh, my cat
we'll
likes
have
to
a
eat
presentation just in regard, we brought it up this full board, so people are thinking about it already. Okay, that's why I brought it up, my vice chair report is going to be around that. like information regarding what we need to do, and not so much like we attended here, like. So it's gonna be like focusing just on that, but next we're planning on having a presentation and just kind of explaining it so everyone's very thorough, very understandable, and we're going to again tell them more than 30 minutes late and you're not there till the end of the meeting, then you're absent. So you could be there the whole meeting, but you leave a little early. Technically, the way it's written, you're absent. I don't know, like that's just how it is. The due process will be very similar to what executive is. We can tell them to come in. A lot of this will also depend what is done in executive in regards to the bylaws. So we're going to kind of like work very like loosely. We'll start next month, but it won't, it has to be decided somewhere else for us to then apply what we're going to do.
I have a question.
Sure.
Because a lot of people we bring because of football, right? But then they have like in their own committees, they have like 3 minutes, and like in one committee they have like 2 minutes, in another committee they have like 4.
What's the
So can we, like, on top of bringing them for football, can we say, and FYI,
It's either or.
you
can bring
also,
them in for either.
but we only bring it for one thing. Like,
No,
we can,
no.
can we like
That's true.
include that?
I'm gonna correct you there. We brought them in people just for committees. If
No,
you're
no,
missing
no,
enough
no, no,
committees.
you're not, no, maybe I'm not explaining myself correctly, right?
Yeah.
So when it comes to, for example, one specific person, right? They had like 7 missed full boards, right? And they had, I think like 3 and 4, whatever, in each. Can we also add it in the letter? Not just bring the 4 full board?
Sure.
Okay.
You can be called up for either missing full board or
I
missing
want
your committee.
everything
And if
on
you're
the letter.
if you're missing both, then they should definitely be there, because now
Everything.
you're even more egregious. Like now you're
Like
just like,
this
why are you even
outrageous.
here if you're missing everything? Like you're not.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't think anyone would argue against that. Everyone's good with that. So our process will be like pretty straightforward. Same thing we've done executive. From here it'll go to executive. They'll probably have another chance to speak there. Like that's.
Right.
So that particular process shouldn't be that overly complicated. Grievance procedures, we're gonna step to the side because we're still figuring out like if they're supposed to go to a separate body and not us. Adam, if you wanna elaborate.
So just so your work doesn't feel like it's wasted, executive is gonna be focused mostly on what bylaw changes would have to be made to fix some of what we're talking about. And this would be one of them that Jose just brought up. So technically, and I don't know, Derek, if you could find this about, there's a part of the bylaws that says basically, if something involves a member or if members are aware, which really would defeat the whole point of this committee and was not a part of the edits. And then I picked up on it as I was reading it. If one member complained about another member, right, the idea was they could come here, right, and kind of have a hearing and air their grievances, or with staff, here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, here. This is grievances. We're not saying, oh, you're gonna get removed. We're just trying to understand what's going on. Technically, our bylaws say that cannot happen right now. It would have to go to like oath or something else. So we would have to change our bylaws to say that they could come here for those instances. And that if you were a party to that matter, you would not only have to recuse yourself, I think you should just not be present, right? Because you can recuse yourself and be present not voting for something, but you're allowed to be in the room. But if somebody wants to come in and say something about you, then you shouldn't be here.
Why?
Well, because
It's about you.
Well, because you might.
Talking about
They
somebody
may wanna-
wanting it back. Sorry.
Well, then
Ken is ready for.
But they're not talking about like, they're talking.
you'll have your opportunity to come in and defend yourself, but go ahead.
So the part that Adem's referring to is around the removal process. And it's at the very end where it says, if the misconduct occurred at a board meeting or in a setting that
No,
the
it's not,
members
it's
have
not that.
prior knowledge of
Is it that?
facts, the board should not conduct the hearing. In such instance, the
Goes
board
to a
shall
separate
consult
meeting.
with the New York City Law Department for further guidance. So it's not necessarily about, so it is relevant to attendance. Speak, because you would know the person wasn't there because you were there. So you'd almost only be able to be a part of it if you were also absent from the meetings and weren't aware they were absent.
That's interesting.
So basically, we could conduct no hearings of any sort for
So-
removal according to, or anything of any nature, period. So we could just change it.
So you mean the people we did remove, in few, we shouldn't have removed?
We haven't removed anyone from grievances.
Well, it doesn't matter, we've done a lot of things that,
Yeah,
you know,
no
that
one-
people
no
also
one's
be
been
absent,
removed for
right? I know
grievance.
what you're saying. No. Well,
No,
no, Eric's saying that
but
even
I
attendance.
can come in and grieve, you taking me off the board for attendance, because I have legitimate reasons, whatever, for absences.
No, you don't.
Yes, you can, I mean,
Yeah, you
based
can.
on.
No, anyone
Which is
who
why
brought in
we're
for a
looking to
meeting
fix it.
about
Right,
attendance,
so
we
we
did
have
not
to change
follow.
it, so we.
And that won't be
I know.
here, that'll be
I don't think
executive.
No, I understand.
So to clarify, anyone that came before executive
Anytime.
to have their attendance evaluated, we did not follow the bylaws
Yeah.
when we brought them in.
Should have gone to like a separate city.
Oath,
oath.
It had to go to oath?
Not, it's just the way it's written, which we'll fix.
The third part, just.
Right, but that's
An
all.
oversight.
So who would
Sometimes
have-
when you put lawyers in charge of things, they overcomplicate things.
Mm.
Like our bylaws, like, they're not as complicated as we think, but sometimes they went a little too far. Cause they're thinking like, oh, we need a third party that's more arbitrary, but that's not really realistic. That's not really realistic, because then we won't be able to do anything. You
We can
know,
change
the whole
that.
point of the community board is you
This
can
is
function.
crazy.
I don't know. I'm quite sure that when those bylaws were written on that section, that there was consultation with the law department. So before you make any changes, I would say go ahead and draft them, but definitely check with the law department on that question. I'm almost certain that that's a requirement.
Well, yes and no. I agree with you about the other parts. Then our lawyer or whoever did it misinterpreted the legal department, or the legal department gave bad advice, because they do expect, the MVPO's office does expect us to be the reason, to be the ones that decide to remove a member for attendance. They want no part.
They told us that.
So if they told us to do
Years
this, then they
ago.
should be doing
No,
it.
now, they told
So-
us that
so-
now.
So I'm not saying that.
I'm not arguing with you.
I know you're not. I'm not saying the borough president's office, general counsel, that's not our lawyer.
Oh,
I'm saying the law department.
Yeah.
I would say, yeah, it's the consult with the law
City law.
department on whatever language you're drafting in regards to those hearings.
That's a good note.
And whether or not, you know, certain things have to be sent to oath or another third party, for those hearings.
Good point.
All right. We are at the quarterly reviews, which is a tool that we think will hopefully avoid a lot of these attendance situations. Could you pull up that, those reviews? Basically, quarterly, we would have quarterly, not monthly.
What do you?
No, but if you're doing
The forms. So quarterly, we would tell the chairs of each committee to review all their members. And we would tell the members to review the chair, to review the liaison. And then we would talk, but the staff were gonna do separately, obviously, for other reasons, so they could feel more free, like there'll be a more, we'll discuss with the staff how that will be. But in this regard, the committee members can then participate and say like, this is how I feel this committee's running, which we've never done. And what we're trying to do is really like, everyone here volunteered to do this, so the whole board volunteered to do this, they must want to do it. So, well, we have to engage them,
Sometimes.
Sometimes people just kind of get lost in the weeds of things, and if we do this every 3 months, right, and it's going to look like this is a committee chair, and I put some stuff up, right? He's going to talk about every member, he's gonna put the member's name, he's gonna say Candy. We can remove the email part again, this is just like a work in progress. It says provide clear directions, set goals, inspires, motivates team members, delegates tasks. This is actually, this committee chair, this is the member talking about the committee chair. So this is like, so you're a member of public safety and you're saying like, does Jose manage conflicts and resolve issues? Or does he let people just kind of spiral out of control? Does he communicate clearly and effectively? Does he listen? Is he punctual? Is he, and all these things, and you will rank them. It's a very simple rank. 5 is the highest rank, 1 is the lowest, and kind of gives feedback to the chair as well. Like, and we're probably going to do this anonymously, which is something I wanted to discuss with this committee to see how they felt. Would they prefer to do this anonymously so that no one in particular can be singled out?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I'll let you finish.
Oh, yeah.
Is just that, that's a good thing, because you know what, it also helps the morale of the members, because sometimes you wanna be engaged, and then sometimes you're so turned off that sometimes you don't even wanna participate, right? And so it has to be then how the leadership is actually running that committee, and you get frustrated that you wanna see something working out, and that's not the direction, or even if you give that chairperson an idea or something, like we should be looking more at this, or maybe we should have more participation in different areas. And if the president is all about just taking over the whole meeting and just doing this, and you're not giving the rest of the members, say, right, a voice, or even to engage in, and only just to present them themselves, it's just like, it's bland, so it's also part of it. This is good for the morale of, like you said, we're all volunteers. We don't get paid for this, so everybody's not getting paid to get transportation either. So whether you're walking or coming by car or whatever it is, you're still making an investment of your time and in yourself here, that you're gonna wanna make it more progressive and productive. So this is a good thing.
Rosa?
Wow, how do you see my hand? So I don't think it should be anonymous, because I personally want to see, what my members want to say, like not in a negative way, but in a constructive way. Like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Like I didn't know that I was talking too much. Right? I didn't know that.
But you would still see
the
results. You just wouldn't know who's saying.
No, Mr. Shutter, how am I in a committee? Like, I want to know, like, I'm so sorry, like, was I talking too much? Did I maybe not explain myself thoroughly? You know what I mean? I want to know, no.
Yeah, I believe that people
I
are
don't
hard
even
to
think
tell,
we need a
make
form
hard
to do that.
decisions. And things that are done anonymously, they can be candid and say what they have to say.
Scroll down.
So the questions are this. The first one is provides clear direction and sets achievable goals. The next one is inspires and motivates team members. The next one is delegates tasks effectively. We're hoping that chairs start delegating more, because again, now that we have term limits, you can be the best chair in the world, but like there's a limit to how long you'll be here. So you'll have to train someone along the way. Manages conflicts and resolves issues. We've seen like some chairs are really good at that, other chairs just like things kind of spiral. Communicates clearly and effectively, listens actively and responds appropriately, punctuality, and at the very end we put where you can text, you can write a paragraph and like suggestions for improvements. But this is just like a rough draft, and I wanted you guys to like, if there's something you wanted to add, or if you just wanted to, this would be done for next month. And so we still have some time to tweak it. It doesn't have to necessarily be right now, but if you have, we're going to share this all with you. And then if there's something that you think could be done better or can be changed, we're open to that conversation. But I think this, in engaging the members, is going to be very beneficial to us as a board as a whole. This should help us with everything else.
Can I just say something? But we also have to be careful that you don't know if someone has something personal towards that individual, and then the criticism, it'll be more of an attack rather than something, what the intention of the improvement, like marketing, what works and what's not working, and how do we improve it. But then you'll probably have some people that would like say, I got a problem with Nilsa. I'm not gonna deal with, I'm gonna put something negative. You wanna make sure that, huh?
Everybody does.
I don't mean to pick on you, but I'm just saying, sometimes you could be doing the best thing, but if that individual, that member has something personal, you wanna make sure that it's not something that's gonna then, just look at how the tone of how's that message is being perceived. You understand what, am I saying it right?
You're saying it right.
You understand it, but I would think that if there are like 7 people evaluating you and one is out to get you, the other 6 are not out to get you as well. And that would show how maybe you're a little bit biased towards that person, And we may also see it too in how you act with that person in the meetings. But I think those things, again, as they would be reviewed, you know, we know what somebody, I think, you know, one person is out to get, okay, let's see what's going on here. You know, but
So-
now we can't bring up people in and have a grievance, right, to talk, right?
So to the question of anonymous or not, how does everyone feel? I would like everyone to give their opinion, what your thoughts are.
I believe that it should be anonymous because I think people will be able to candidly, whether it's a grievance or not, express themselves. And for the recipient of that evaluation, at least they get a big picture of what the committee believes they can do. So if I know the majority of the committee supports what I do one way, or committee, it's a significant part of the committee believes I'm doing something that's on the low side, at least I get an indication where I can improve, I know where I'm doing well, without knowing who voted for me. Because we don't know how I keep a vengeance if I know you voted against me, right? We don't know that, it eliminates that in my opinion.
Anyone else? We have like one in favor, one against. Xavier?
One, is this in our folder in Google Drive to look at?
It will be shared with you. Right now it's shared with Angel and and I just wanted you guys to say, because it's still together.
Yeah.
But we will share it with everyone here.
Like, I've worked in environments that have both anonymous, 180 or what they call 360 reviews, and I've had those that actually have people stand by what they're saying based on the working relationship and structure, whether you have a managerial to subordinate or you have peer-to-peer. I found those that are they tend to be more respectful when people are willing to put their opinion, and they'll be more considered.
You're in favor.
And comprehensive, so I would say yes, I'm fine either way, but I think having like a paragraph to kind of say, hey, this thing, they did really well, this other thing, although I like the time management, I would like a little bit more breathing room to flesh out ideas, right? So something that I think guidance from this body would be helpful in how they craft a finishing statement, so that they can give proper growth. So I'm fine either way, but at the end of the day, I prefer to have them disclosed, because then that can help foster a healthy allyship and working relationship.
Derek, what do you think about this?
Similar to Xavier, like I've experienced kind of both, right? Where it's been anonymous or it's not been anonymous. I myself, when I have the opportunity to get anonymous feedback, I will still put my name in it. And by making it anonymous, people could still do that if they want to put their name behind what they're saying. But so I'm in favor of giving people the choice. And I also think if you do this well, hopefully it creates a climate where it can be discussed as a group. I'm a big believer in you don't just want the loudest voices in the room to get their points in. You want to give people opportunities to share their ideas in a written way on their own time, right? How they engage with things. So I'm in favor with the current version of it.
Candy?
You wanna have an optional button, that's fine, you know?
We didn't think of that. That was you. So it could happen.
You know, but if that person wants to put their name down, then I think that that'll give opportunities also for that chair to speak with that individual, although I still feel that everyone should still have the opportunity that if I have a problem with one of my colleagues, to discuss it, unless the person is very aggressive, that you can't talk to them because they'll make a big thing out of it, and then it gets to a different escalation. But
So just, this isn't so much about like having problems with each other. It's really just like reviewing.
yeah, but people can retaliate and take it in a different level.
I don't disagree.
That's what I'm saying.
Human behavior is a funny thing.
Nelson, what do you think?
I don't have an opinion at this time, actually. I'll see how it forms out.
David?
So I'm gonna add this little spin before I say that. I think you should pilot this with this committee and executive.
I'm sorry, what was
and
that?
the committee chairs before you put it out to full board, so you work through the kinks yourself.
Mhm.
I like that.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
But that's the chairs making the decisions only.
No, what I mean by that, Rosa, is that, and it is his decision, I understand that. What I'm saying is, before you introduce this to everybody, right, because it could go wrong. how do you make sure that the process is worked out so that we can reflect on ourselves here before we're asking other people and for us to reflect on others? You know,
I see what you're saying.
evaluation is a sensitive thing for a lot of people. It creates a lot of anxiety.
We could do the option of allowing people to put their name or not.
That's not what I was referring to.
No, I know what you're
I'm talking about the process,
I
right?
know.
You're introducing a whole new process that one can be very subjective.
Yeah.
Right?
That's the whole point.
No, but
I mean,
again,
I think we also have to, like,
and then
the biggest problem we have in our community board is that the membership isn't as engaged as they should. Right? The chairs are working hard, but the members are not as engaged.
oh, I agree.
I mean, most of them,
Well, that's why I
we've
said-
gone to most of these meetings and people be like, oh, I don't know what's happening, but the agenda was sent out and all that information was the agenda, so
Jose,
like.
my first thing to him was, we can't get members in the committee to do work. We're gonna get members to fill this out on all of us. No, I'm saying again, I
But
think
you
in
have to,
reality.
but
the
at one
process-
point, you have to start,
We can't, no,
that's
but-
the whole point of this. The
You
whole
said
point
you
of
were
this
looking
is
for
to like
12 people,
engage, is to.
Right, and you got 3 people working, and the other 9 are,
Yeah.
right, so now you're gonna ask the, to evaluate? I don't, the evaluator is the person.
At them, Rosa?
I'm trying not to talk, but Rosa, thank you. I technically can, I know, implement it, but the whole point of putting this committee together was not for me then to just go, no, you know, so I said it in my emails, I think, even to executive, this is advisory, but unless there's a valid reason why a suggestion you guys make here is not right, or we get new information that might change why that could work, my practice is going to be that what you guys say here in your purview is what we'll do. So I'm not gonna just sit there and veto things. So if, you know, you guys agree that you want us to do this pilot first, and that's what the consensus is, that is what we'll do. We will generally go with the consensus of this committee unless there's a valid reason not to. Just for the record.
Xavier?
So, two things, right? As a chair, I wanna know if I'm doing an okay job. Because it's not an it's like I rely on everybody, right? So I wanna know, like, good or bad, I'm a kind person, tell me everything, I wanna know, because I like to learn. Two, you said that all the committee members are going to also evaluate the chair, but then the chair is also gonna evaluate everybody else.
Mhm.
So everybody else is gonna know that it's gonna be me. There's no anonymous there. I mean, that was like a comment, like.
I just think that the committee chairs should be evaluated, and if I'm a chair of a committee, I wanna let each members to know. It's not supposed to be anonymous. I'm the chair, you're on my committee, I'm supposed to be able to communicate how I want you to do it. This is all this, I believe, is a coaching situation. To be motivating for the chairs to be able to see what the committee members see and believe in them, and how they engage back and forth.
Xavier?
Yeah, I like what David offered as advice, because frankly, workshopping and getting feedback from chairs is a good process, but we should also, I don't know if you've spoken to the fellow chairs within Manhattan, whether they implement this process. I think there was one out ages ago that did something similar, but it's, I think, but to get feedback, because they may have some insights, and again, we're taking this over the process.
I don't think David meant that, I think he meant the chairs of the committees. Is that what you meant?
That is.
I meant the chairs and executive.
He said
Executive.
that.
No, but he's speaking about like community
No,
boards.
no, I'm saying, the chairs of Community Board 11.
There.
I was also referencing that there have been other boards have done stuff like this and to check that
Bring
out.
it up at Borough Board.
Yeah, so there's, again, not reinventing the wheel, make it slightly, because they may have additional questions that they found.
Or they may have a streamline, yeah, I'm not opposed to using other people's work if it's good.
Yeah, so that's my point. I think if we could maybe workshop this a little, or just present this like, hey.
Oh, that's why we're bringing it up.
Yeah, an executive, they may offer some additional feedback, so that's all, because we have 1, 2, 3.
Well, most of the executives here.
Yeah.
That's purposely done.
Anyway, thank you.
So the question will be, do we want to implement this next month, or do we wait to do something with the chairs first?
I'm okay with next month, honestly, like, you just gave me an idea, I'm just gonna go talk to all my members, say, hey, am I good to you?
I mean,
What
there's
else do you
ways to get
need?
feedback too, just feed it.
Right, this is like direct communication.
I think if
You don't need a big crowd.
I mean, this is community, like you're gonna. But I just wanna know how everyone feels about it.
But you also, you both wanna know then how's it working in other committees, how,
The
so
only
who's
way-
gonna be
the
evaluating,
only
who's
way
gonna
you're
look
gonna-
at that?
What happened?
Who is going to look at this,
This committee.
okay.
Yeah, so you guys.
Yeah, all of you.
So then what hap-
And I mean, obviously the chair and the staff.
So if everyone in a committee has a problem with the chair, what are you guys gonna do?
Then,
Remove them.
If
I
everyone has
mean,
a problem.
if everyone
then they
does that,
should
then
share it.
there's an issue,
Oh, yeah,
right?
right, I mean,
There's something
yeah.
wrong there.
There'd always be a warning, right? But the idea is, yeah, where the feedback needs to be taken, otherwise, what's the point? I think I jumped Xavier.
I mean, it's about like improving, that's what this is about.
Team.
Otherwise, we're always going to be in the same place we've always been. And chairs do everything and the committee, like you're engaging, this is you engaging your members. Like Xavier?
Yeah, I think taking to executive, get the additional chair's feedback would be helpful, and then roll it out within a month after that, if that works, or, the latest by, May. So June, you could have a review with all the chairs of this body, but the latest, but I'm fine with getting into executive and then roll out.
At that?
And then teaching new methods.
I just wanna touch on something Candy said too. We're saying, and I agree with you, right, but it's two-sided, right? I think there are some committee members, maybe they're on the wrong committee, right? They don't really interested, there's gonna be examples that's impossible to avoid. But the chairs make the agendas, the chairs do this. I want there to be a culture here where, and I talked to a member today without saying, they keep sending me this stuff, and I'm like, that's great, but I said, this sounds very relevant to a committee you're on, you should be sending this to your committee chair. This could be an agenda item, right? I want the members to feel like they can have input on the agendas, right? You might say, Nelson might go, hey, Dan, I'd like this to be talked about at executive this month, and I should be willing to
You are a prime
consider that.
example, everyone's
So,
using those.
That's the thing, this is supposed to foster the idea that, committee members can influence agendas, they can suggest a presentation coming in. That's to be the understanding that the committee chairs have to say yes right away, like, all right, let me think about that come next month. But I think that'll get people engaged, right? If you're seeing the work that you're interested in being brought there, you'll be more inclined to participate. And maybe I'm not interested in that, but like, oh wow, Candy got that on the agenda, man, I wanna get this on the agenda, right? It opens it up. The committee chair is a facilitator, not the doer of everything, right? As I am, I'm here to facilitate, not to do everything, otherwise it would be impossible. So that's the idea, is to start getting the body to work, not 8 people, right? So that's.
Derek, where would you be, I was looking down, but,
Organize it.
where would you be in regards to like starting it or not
Well, I
starting it?
really
or-
do like David's idea of doing it about this committee and about the executive committee. And then Xavier's point about, we want to make sure we get this done in time so we can do it before the end of the cycle, so that we have the opportunity to look at it. I think this sort of section's almost done, right? Like, we really want to be thinking about how to get ready for the new year, right? Like, by the time we get this out, it would be at least a month from now, probably 2 months from now, and then it's gonna be, it's gonna be
I mean,
April.
the plan was releasing it next month.
Right.
Yeah,
But I
Again,
think
it depends
we
on
can't-
how the board.
I think it's gotta be talked about at executive, because there are some people that are chairs and vice chairs that are not in this room right now. And I think we wanna, again, see what the process is like. It's a totally brand new thing. David's definitely right about that. I don't think we've ever done anything like this before in this type of way. So that's my take on it. I don't think we should rush it out. I think in the end, if we rush it and then it could backfire and then it won't work at all. So that's my take.
People won't see the value.
Candy?
No, I'm agreeing with what David is saying.
Derek?
Derek, I'm sorry.
Nelson?
I don't know what I said.
I agree with Derek.
Russell? Okay, so the majority has it. So we're gonna take it to executive. We'll present it more fleshed out there. I mean, it's mostly there. It's a matter of And again, these forms are on Google. It's very simple to change, very simple to like organize. You can make the name a requirement, or you can make it not, so people can very easily make it anonymous by just not making it a requirement. Just so we've done this in the past. So either way, it's fine. I just want to kind of just move it along so that we know. Yes, Rosa?
So,
Just how we.
please correct me, like, so all the decisions that we make here are gonna go to executive, so we can actually make a decision there?
No. This is, well, typically, yes,
I
that
don't know,
is
like,
correct.
the folks that
Attendance,
come in here,
attendance will go to, like, we do the process here.
Mm.
Then we send our recommendation to
I know
executive.
what she's saying. I know what she's saying. So we had this come up, Angel, and correct me if I'm wrong, please, like, I had asked you.
Have it inside me.
You know, they kind of dress the same, they're like the brilliant minds at the table. That's why I left, I wasn't smart enough to sit there. So I had asked you, we had two motions at Youth and Education, right? And I had asked you why one wasn't on full board, and you explained it to me that it was like for the committee to keep going. So what you're saying is, so the things that would go to executive, I think, like, let's make this clear, right?
Yes.
If you guys, you're gonna be conducting the hearings once we allow this, well, we have to go to city, we're gonna figure that out, right? We'll figure it out. I think that we're smarter here than they are there, but they call the shots, right? The motion you guys just took today, I'm sorry, I forgot what it is, that doesn't need to go to executive. Your policies, your internal workings, how you want to do things, your evaluation sheet, I actually don't want that going there. The whole point was so that we don't do it double, we don't spend double the time. The other point was to balance it. If you see here, it's about 50-50 members that are in executive, members that aren't. So no, besides like the hearings and really removals, like aside from that, we will verify that. But all your inner workings, how you build your processes and stuff, you're autonomous to that, like any other committee would be. So you guys take motions here because you want to gather consensus on your ideas, right? Democratically, but that's not a motion that needs to come to us. So that's just to set that here. So no, you're not wasting your time.
So how about instead of that initial thought, we, depending on how the committee feels, we can bring this up at full board as a very small presentation of like what we're planning on doing, and you can get some feedback there without making anyone necessarily fill anything out. And if everyone's good with it, then we'll move forward for like April or May. So in March, we'll present this as part of our minutes. Does everyone feel comfortable with that?
So calendar full board happens, and then that same week we have executive on the Thursday.
We're not doing executive.
No, so I'm saying that, that I don't think it'd be horrible to have a presentation on it, but I think sending, then if we're not gonna talk about this at executive, my recommendation is that we at least send it to the executive committee members, of which we have half here, and to the vice chairs as well, because they're gonna be included in the process to solicit feedback.
Well, we would be sending it to everyone. Because we're gonna do it at full board, so everyone would see it at full board. That's what I'm asking, how this committee feels about that then. It's kind of like an in-between where like we would present it as a very simple 2-3 minutes. We wanna engage, we want you to be engaged, we want you to give constructive criticism. This isn't about like bashing people and,
So I'm
like
just saying, some people
I
can take it
understand,
to
I know what you're
another.
saying, but like, we would tell them what the spirit of this is. And then they can kind of like start thinking about it before they actually have to do it. And if we decide to go then in April and do it, and that gives us time to kind of flush out the document and see if you guys wanna, we'll be sharing it with you.
We want to be able to, the chairs, vice chairs, and all of you guys to have a conversation rather than waiting till everything gets really tension, and then people explode. We want you to be able, like, a teacher and a student, have that conversation. That's your second parent. They think here, like, we're buddies, we talk to each other, we're adults. We should be able to have adult conversation, like, let me have your constructive criticism.
And most importantly, is having new members come on board knowing what they're coming into.
Yes.
An embracing situation.
Yes.
They don't know any better. Whatever they come to,
They don't know what they don't know.
see, that's what they're practicing.
And for new members, you can make it optional, right? Because how do you review someone if you don't have an experience with them? right? You're sitting on a committee in May and June, and now you're being asked to review. You're like, I just got here. I don't know anyone.
But it's quarterly.
Right, but
If
you
we
know
do
what,
it
that's the
tomorrow,
reality.
Oh, we're not gonna do it in March now because we're gonna go to the full board as a presentation, so then we would do it June.
June we'll have new people.
June we'll have new people. And then you can do it as an option, like,
Go ahead.
But the new people aren't assigned
I don't
committees
agree
until
with you.
September.
Right.
exactly.
I would say, and then you do it with the old members and by
Exactly.
June the latest, and then new members coming in. will
Well,
run
you're
it.
doing it in committee, so if they're not in the committee, they wouldn't get it in. So that's an easy way out.
And they already, most of them missed the main meeting.
Yeah, we're not doing this at full board.
Right, I know. That should be.
So is everyone good with it? Is this like a voting? Do we have to vote, or is everyone good?
yes,
Okay, great.
roll call.
I mean, that was our, we have orientation, we have board expectations and we have orientation and training. We can get into the weeds now, or if you wanna touch on, we still have 2-3 months until that becomes very relevant because new members come in, April, May, really May. So it gives us another month if we want, it gives us March and April to like work out board expectations, orientation and trainings, which is something we'll be doing. And actually, talking about participation, if everyone on this committee could bring us ideas on what you would think those two topics are, that would be great for next month. Which in regards to board expectations and what should we do in regards to orientation and training. So far, like Angel's been doing this like by himself. But like, we should be giving the staff significant help with this regard. So if you guys can come up with a plan on both of these things and bring it back for next month, and we can kind of like share it prior to the meeting, like email it to everyone, and we'll have it there, and then we'll talk about it, and we'll focus on those two things. Because attendance, as we said, like a lot of this is just, there's supposed to be more reference, because again, we can't change it here. That'll be an executive. It's just more informational and how to define it. A lot of these things will have to go to executives to be changed in our bylaws. Xavier?
Yeah, sorry to the new, bring thoughts to board expectations, but they should all be equivalent, and I think, having that kind of account, you and I talked about this, the accountability buddy, like having a mentor, mentee. But the other thing too is that what we've done with the onboarding, the start with Nelson and I, Angel would do the training, and then we have an in-person onboarding, which we did earlier this year, and that I think has been very helpful to getting people to see what the real world impact is from the street, code naming to licensing procedures to how do you actually activate in the neighborhood, as well as our ULIP projects.
I know, but unfortunately, most members always tell us that they're lost. So whatever was in place, I don't wanna like smash on it or anything else, but most members come and told us, oh, we don't know. And even some members who they're new here, but they weren't new to the community board, I don't wanna mention names, but they weren't new to the community board, and they were still very like overwhelmed, so we need to fix it. So it's just a matter of like, we need to do more, that's all it is, because we got that information directly from the new members, they were kind of like, what is this? Especially since there was like some internal issues going on when they came in and everybody was kind of lost about it. Candy?
So, there was a time that, well, at least at the time when I was, chair to the land use, there was, like you could call it like a speed dating kind of thing that we did. Everyone came in and whoever was new, and even if you was a current member, just to come in and see what each and every committee, you're hearing it straight from the chair, what each committee does, what is their mission, and, it gives the members, the new members, it's like a college fair. I want to go to this school. No, I don't like it. I'm going to this one. And so this way, I've had some new members come in and I would tell them what the ULIP, I printed out, did a whole nice little thing, and then let them know, well, this is the ULIP, this is what we vote on. Oh, that's not gonna pertain to me. I was like, guess what? You're gonna be voting on everything that comes through this committee at the full board. So at least know, if you don't have to join this committee, but just at least be aware of what is to be expected when you're gonna be at the full board to vote when it comes to this committee. Anything that comes through this committee. And so with that, you give them those documents, they can leave with that, and then they can just think about which committee they wanna join on when it's about that time to join in and filling out that form of saying which committee you want to participate in. You know, then they'll know if that's really what they want to do or not. But if you just talk about it and say it, but at least they get to also meet who are the current chairs as well on those committees.
That's speed dating. But so bring that up, let's put it in so we can.
I don't want to call it speed dating, but I'm just
But
calling
you know
it.
what I mean? I like, actually speed dating makes sense because, you know, you're kind of like going down the road.
I love that idea, and I think connected to it is that piece about like people not understanding what they're voting about.
Yeah.
Right, and like a one pager explaining like the licenses and permits. Yeah. Right, and then having that available for people and giving that to them at their first full board, because these people show up and they're like deer in the headlights. I know I certainly felt that way for a lot of it. It's like, wow, there's so much going on, and I get to just start voting today. Like I don't fully, I haven't met everyone yet, and kind of that kind of stuff. And I think it can also turn into a resource that could go on the website, so members of the community can understand what these different committees do and why I might go to them, and these are the types of things that they vote on. Because I know people have this available. They should educate themselves. But if we give them the resources to get educated from, then I think we're just doing a really good thing.
But it is overwhelming at first.
Totally.
So that's why when I became chair of public safety, that's the first thing I did. I'm like, we're not voting on anything this month. Well, we'll listen this month, and we started that process, and a few other committees have begun to do it. And it's very helpful, not just for the members, for the public. It gives them time to kind of get feedback of this, of that, and then Russell.
No, Russell.
So it's all been for years. I've had discussions with Angel over the years about things like this. I believe that everybody that joins the community board should know what the community board is, how it operates, the purposes of it, with each committee. If you're on the board, you should know what each committee stands for, its responsibilities, and what's to be done. Our needs, statement of needs, the assignments. So the information should be laid out to them, each member, how each committee operates and all those things. And when they are selecting a committee, what's expected of them, what they should be required to do, what they're required to know. So when it comes to the trainings, how the trainings are mandatory and how we could do it collectively as groups so we all know all the technical stuff. Again, everybody should know that we are working together. I know what every committee is, what they do, what's expected, and I'll choose the ones I want to be on. And the ones I'm going to be on, I know what's expected of me. Not only how they operate, but what's expected of me.
And then
everybody, the budget.
Yeah.
So statement of needs.
And then David.
I actually had talked to Angel about this, like predicting, I guess, this happening about a welcome packet, right? But and Angel is the one that had started a welcome packet way back. But I think like most things, it probably was totally ignored. So now what we do have is a website where I think everything we talked about is on that website. So what I will say, because I think it's a question of, do you guys want to do that work? Because we could, trim it down to like let's say a one pager on each committee, right? That could be something the committee chairs are responsible for, right? Not so much their goals, but just this is what this committee does, right? Even though I feel like we have that. You guys could, we could make a package that you guys do, but everything is on that site. It might be about putting it all into one thing together and taking a lot of it out, right? Like they should be presented to the bylaws day one at the top. This is what it is. Read it, don't read it. Attendance, you're gonna follow these things, right? But then the task is on you guys. I think the other thing I'll suggest is that each of you should, Jose, you should consider, Snilsa, the two of you, assigning each of you to a committee. Like that you're responsible for kind of being kind of like with budget, you're the liaison to that committee. The only tricky thing with that you have to consider is in some instances, it might make sense, like for Xavier to be his person to EcoDev, but in other instances it won't, right? Because you shouldn't be the one really corresponding with them about your reviews of each other. So I think you should all be designated a committee and a committee you do not share, to keep everything on the up and up. And that doesn't mean
what would be the point? I don't understand.
The point of it, because you're taking in all these surveys from each committee. Right. You're not gonna come here and you're not gonna sit and go through every one of those as a group. Because you'll be feedback. So like you get the feedback from licenses, right? For argument's sake, you can distill that feedback and bring it in a summary to this committee and be like, this is what they thought about this chair, this is what they thought about these members, so you come with stuff. You talk to that chair, right? You're gonna start putting more work on the chair, you guys are gonna help me, so you're gonna say, we expect this from you, we want this one-page summary, we're putting a welcome packet together. Have you talked to your committee members about seeing things on the agendas now? It'll actually help me tremendously, because right now, I feel like if it's not me and the staff doing that, then it's not gonna happen, and it's a lot for us. I think that there's a lot you guys can do outside these walls, and I think that I picked this group specifically because I think you can. So these are things to consider, because it will streamline your work tremendously, and that of the board, and it'll make my life a lot easier, which is the whole point of this, was to make this less chair-centric, right? So that's why I think so.
Yes, that was good. Another thing that a lot of new members have selected to was the dates and times that the meetings are happening. Because like a lot of people, oh no, I can't do Mondays, I can't do Wednesdays. You know what I mean? Like they do pay, like when they come over here and they're like, oh, which day do you guys meet? Thursday? Oh, okay, yeah. Which, like the second, the fourth? I'm like, the first. Okay, that works with me. I'm all right. So like that's another thing that members, you know, like, yes, and
So, I'm glad you included the orientation thing. It's so important. We've talked about it 100 different ways. In the time that I've been here, I'm sure 100 different ways before I ever got here. And yeah, the speed dating thing was cool. We did a couple other things, whatever. We done all kinds of nonsense. And the whole idea is just to kind of give folks, like, well, first meet these folks, but then also, you know, like give them like a bit of you know, like primer on, like, you know, this is what we do. The fact is, there are a couple of facts. One, the fact is there's a lot to do. There's no point minimizing that. It's a pet peeve of mine when I hear people, oh, it's okay, it'll be fine, it's easy. It isn't easy, it's a lot of stuff. Community boards throughout their history have stuck their nose in a ton of stuff, and the result is the work is a lot. Because community boards want to know about this and about this and about this and about this. So your homework is a lot. That's just a fact. That's why it's important for people to be familiar with community boards and how they function and what they are and how they, you know, like what it takes before they apply. That people are applying and people are being appointed that have no idea is the bigger challenge for community boards, not just this one, but for all of them. I don't know, and I've said this a bunch of times too, I don't know what the borough president's office does in terms of training when people first join. I know they have the training series, that's dope. But I mean when they first join, so that when people are walking in, other than that, you know, role-playing thing, which is like an evening or something.
Right.
And that, you know, I'm not gonna poo-poo that either. That's a good effort. But what you need to know as a board member, and you all know, is a lot more than that. It's just impossible to capture it all. I think the best way, you know, with new members is to be honest. This is what it is.
Yeah.
It's a lot of stuff, okay? And we share everything that we have. I have everything but my phone number on that damn website, right? Social security number. All right. And it's all spelled out. So the packet that, you know, Dan was referencing before, yes, you know, I compiled it. I'm sure I copied it from something that already existed. But it was basically the bylaws and the statement of needs and the handbook for community board members. That's there. So instead of clubbing everybody over the head with that 300-page thing, I made a shorter document that, you know, board member reference guide thing, right? It's like 7-8 pages. You could read it, you know, on the toilet. But then that points you to everything else, right? Everything else is there. And then you go to the committees, and each committee page talks about what they do. If you go to the liquor license, if you go to the licenses and permits committee page, you click on the liquor license stuff, it brings you to another page that explains in detail, exhaustive detail, all the procedures, all the documents, how things are done for all of those applications, right? Like that is there. I'm saying it because it's important for all of you to also be the evangelist for the information that we have available. It can't just be me, it can't just be a them, it can't just be whoever happens to be the chair at that moment. It has to be the whole body of veteran members. Like it's there. Like you're not expected to know everything on the first day, but you are responsible to vote on everything. So do your best to go on there and read stuff. We try to spell it out in not complicated language. I've written everything but the bylaws. And I can't, I'm not a lawyer, so everything is plain English. So like, like please push them in that way. If you're gonna do an orientation, like, so I haven't always done them myself, it's just since the pandemic, since we were remote, I started doing these things, and then Xavier was doing the in-person, like get together thing. Before that, we were having those events, trying stuff. So if you guys have ideas, let's do that, because these members are coming in and they're lost. And it's, even the not appointing people until September, I don't know if that was with Xavier or with Nilsa, who was with it, we started doing that, but it's just to give folks a break, because they're coming in and then put on the committee and like, oh, vote on this street activity. And they're like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. So like, okay, give a little room, and you can go test the waters if you like land use or public safety or whatever, and then for September, you'll be on something. But even come September, you get punched in the face in September because you have to do the budget.
That's right.
Right? So it's a ton of stuff that we have to, I think, to repeat myself, we have to be honest with the new members and with ourselves about just how much it is. And you do, each task one at a time. You don't have to do all of them at the same time, but you are responsible for all of them. So if you guys want to come up with a break the ice thing, and them had that gathering a couple of weeks ago, something like that.
Was nice.
Something that's a little more technical, maybe multiples, maybe one that is, that one year we did, we had George James do a land use orientation and Matthew Washington do a budget orientation, and then I did the boring, text crap. And so like there's ways to do it, because like the boring stuff that gets me excited doesn't excite anybody else, right? But it's, like that's my job. It's like you got to follow the rules, and people are like, oh, I want to follow the rules. I'm like, but you have to follow the rules. So like there's ways to do that. So I'm glad that's there. But, let's be honest with them and honest with ourselves that it's going to take quite a bit. Like these new members, I know Derek. I don't know these other people, so I'm like, well, there's nothing there. So.
Derek?
I wonder, to your point about like giving people that little bit of an easy period, but I wonder if it's reasonable to make like an ad hoc committee that is the new people. And they meet in May and they meet in June, and they're not necessarily conducting business. They're not voting on things that'll go before the committee, the full board, but they could experience that agenda. They could experience the roll call. Like they could go through it all, and it's like an hour, and then it's like a get together after, and you could do maybe those presentations. You could talk about what you would do if it was a vote, because again, like exactly, yeah, right. You could have. Part of that speed dating could be people presenting about their thing. Because I think part of it is like, yeah, like when I got appointed, I came to a couple of the committees that spring, but no one else did. And maybe they went to other ones. But I think to leave it up to people on their own to do it versus like assigning them and taking their attendance and like welcoming them, like not just kind of saying you'll figure it out yourself. We'll get you on a committee in September. So I think that may be something to.
So you make sure to put these, because we're going to formulate this next committee, right? We're going to do the attendance piece, and we're going to do this, and these are all great ideas. So just make sure that you write it down so that we can kind of really structure. Because again, like it has to have structure to it. Like Xavier, done.
Yeah. So to Angel's point, it actually started with the delay of being appointed to your committees. That was under Matthew's leadership. So when I came back in 2015, that's when that actually was implemented. And it used to be pre-pandemic, you were required to do the in-person trainings at the MVPO zone. You were required, and you had to do it. And it wasn't just a one-off, there were usually two you were required. So that's one thing. The other thing too, what we did do with Angel's training that was implemented during the pandemic and doing the in-person, how does it apply in the real world to our work? There has to be a handoff and the responsibility of the committee chairs to continue that onboarding. And I like your idea, Derek, of like having like a mock experience of what the meeting's like, but then they also have a presentation from someone like a George James, or they do the text with Angel, or they do it like a bylaws or procedural understanding, you know, like unanimous consent versus like we just went around the room and said everyone buys in, you know, it's kind of like acclamation, but not without calling a roll call vote. So I think there's, but the chairs hold a responsibility as well, and I think that's one of the big things that, you know, I've already reached out to my committee members and say, hey, I wanna have a coffee, or if you don't have time, let's just have a chat on the phone. What are your big questions? And we had Agatha already sent from our last meeting, and he put that, a whole list of emailed recommendations, and it's great. I mean, I love that, because then I'm like, okay, let me dive in over the weekend. Can you get on a phone call and just have a brief chat so we can bring that back to the table? So that, it's partly on responsibility the chairs have, which are here, and our vice chairs to build that affinity. So, yeah, please bring that back next month too.
Which is also why we're trying to do these reviews, right? Because we're trying to we're forcing people to engage. It's really what it is. It's not to like attack anyone. It's just, we're forcing people to get active. And the reality is most of our community board is not active.
Probably is the morale not being boosted.
So we're going to have to work on morale. And we're gonna have to work on because when you participate, you feel more included.
And people will attend and come to the meetings.
Yes.
We wouldn't have attendance problem, you know?
Because most of the time, individuals are like, I'm wasting my time.
Sometimes you get turned off.
I feel like I'm wasting my time. Why? So we're trying to do things that are new and inventive to make sure that they participate. And the more they participate, the more included they feel, we will, that's why we feel like this particular piece will help minimize attendance, will help minimize everything else. Because it'll be more of a like, it'll be more of a, well, the 30-minute thing. All right, so then, so far what we're going to do is we will take that to full board to do a presentation, which we can work on. We'll show the forms, we'll show the situation, and we will discuss these things again. Multiple emails will go out in regards of attendance and cameras and everything else, but starting March, based on what we decided tonight, alright, which is actually, is that an action item? Do we have to present that, or the March situation? No, right, we're fine with that, okay, perfect.
Everybody should be happy, just started it now.
Alright, so then I'll have.
I just wanna, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Again, I just wanna reiterate this, like, everything, any good idea we have here, I'm willing to implement. I'm gonna need all of your help. Okay, so if we have ideas here and then you don't see them happening because we thought, oh, no, like, I think we can do it, we'll take something on, and I'm happy to kind of help out with everybody that I can. But like, if you guys want the committee, you want this, just kind of come to me with it and I'll be like, oh, okay, you know? So I love all these ideas, just gonna need everyone to really, you know, do your thing to make it all happen. That's all I'm asking, all right? So.
And so we're clear for next meeting, we're going to do attendance next meeting on the last 6 months, which is September to February. And hopefully no one is in there, but if someone is, then we'll start that procedure. And we will then be focusing on the orientation, the board expectation, which means that all of you will bring your ideas, send them to Angel, myself prior to the meeting so that we can kind of set them up on the computer and like, you know, flush it out, and we'll focus on those two things. Xavier?
Do we have a board office oversight in our Gmail folder, like our drive yet? And if so, we start workshopping, tossing our ideas in there, like we do with the other committees.
Yeah, we'll sort that out, right?
There's a folder, right?
Okay. There's a folder, yeah. We had to change the name, it was office oversight, now it's board oversight, but.
I'll change it back just to push you on.
All right, any other questions? Everyone feel good with what we're doing, or?
I just want to say a comment to Angel. Angel, I love the website, the way you have it fixed out. Because even me, myself being a long-standing board member, I refer all the time to that website for anything that if I want to find out, because things change. And if you're adding anything in there, I encourage a lot of people all the time to check the community board's website, especially for when they want to know what's going on. Like, just You wanna find out, even these meetings are not closed in, you can go into the calendar, register straight from the calendar, I mean, that's, to me, I feel like that's part of what we do as well, not just the committee work, but what we're saying out there as part of outreach to the residents of the community. Because that's how you're gonna engage people also to get involved as well, and bringing them into our meetings, and also know what's going on in the community and engaging and giving them options. So I just want you to know that what you're doing is not going like on a wayside, and not all board members. I understand there's some, but, but I'm speaking for myself, that what the work that you're putting in is being done. Yeah,
We do have
so,
one of the best websites.
Yes.
I'll be honest with you.
it's user-friendly,
Really is.
it's very, I like it. So maybe you should help me with my website. No, let me stop.
There it is.
There it is. That was the big on the switch.
No, but I'm serious, it's true though. I am serious.
Does anyone else have any, so we're good to rumble? Everyone knows, I mean, we're not gonna be very popular, it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. No, there's no, we're gonna do roll call first. Angel.
Committee member, when I call your name, please answer present. Jose Altamirano.
Present.
Rosa Diaz.
Presente.
David Giordano.
Present.
Elsa Rama.
Present.
Xavier Santiago.
Present.
Russell Schuler. President. Deborah Stamp.
Present.
Candy Vivas Vasquez.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Okay, meeting is adjourned, thank you very much.